So our efforts, while I'm getting this up, recently continued to be with Garrett single sign-on, and then also there we've noticed some search issues with like literal strings within VLCS. If you're putting like quotes around it, it wasn't adhering to that. So Jason Burks, one of our lead developers, has been focused on that. I've been focused on moving forward with licensing for the next version of Liferay. It's called Liferay DXP. That's going to give us, there are a couple different things. One is that we're working with NCO to have VLab be hosted not only in College Park, but also in Boulder, Colorado at their second facility. And that has licensing implications because we'll have more instances there. So that has resulted in us needing to move forward with licensing, as well as the fact that they have a newer version which has greater modularity. It's more responsive in terms of adapting to users' screens and things like that. If you're using the site on a cell phone or a tablet, you'll see better results. And then there are some additional new capabilities that we're looking forward to. Specifically, some people have been pushing for quite a while to change the workflow in terms of if you use the DDL as a dynamic data list, or another word for that are the forms within VLCS. The newer version has a way to directly upload files within those forms, and that's something that would be advantageous. So, that's what's going on there. Let me make this larger so I can actually see that. So, other higher priority items. So the preview of user as owner settings, we're just starting to look into that. Like I think I've mentioned in the past, there is an impersonate capability within VLCS, but we have to be careful with that because it really does treat you as the other user. So it could be abused. So that if we gave, for example, the owners the ability to impersonate anyone on their team, that would they could then, not that they would do it intentionally, but they could post and things like that, and there wouldn't be a way to note that. So I think the desire for that first item up there with the preview as user is more from a look and feel, not necessarily actually doing things. So we'll have to see what would be involved there. Actually 21.7.13 is what I was just talking about. The DDL needs the capability to upload files directly. That would be addressed with the upgrade to Liferay, and we're tentatively planning on having that upgrade take place in the fall. So it's I'm filling out all the paperwork for the C request to move that forward through NovaLink. So I talked with the team this morning about the theme, and we have the updated theme deployed out into our dev server, and so we need to have a couple team members go through and methodically check all the different areas to make sure that there aren't any problems, and then we'll be sending, after that's been finished, I'm hoping maybe that could be done this week. We can then notify users that a new theme is coming and make that theme available for people to try within their community I'm thinking like a week to 2 weeks at most, and then give them an opportunity if there are problems within their community using the new theme. They could let us know, and then after that period, we would then switch out the current theme with the new theme. So, so that's work that should be progressing along, hopefully nicely. And others, there was an issue I know that was higher rated dealing with the personal pages, and so that's something that we'll be working on. This, I'm hoping to get to it towards the end of the week. So the DXP licensing issue, and then there were some other. There was an issue with traffic being incorrectly. So there were some restrictions that we had put in place within VLCS, within Liferay. When it got opened up to the AWIPS network, this only pertains to NWS users, but AWIPS is the operational system in which forecasters are working from within, and they have access to VLab directly from there. But the ITSO required that they not be able to get certain file types. So anyway, that was put in place. It was working well, but it's a little bit overly broad. So I've submitted a ticket to fix that issue with NSEP. So I think that's what I wanted to talk about today, unless there are specific questions regarding any of these issues.
Ken, why is single sign-on still in progress?
It's been implemented for Redmine and VLCS, but we have two other services that we provide. One is Garrett, the code review, and that's what we've been, or Jason Burks has been working on that, getting that in place. And then the last component is Jenkins, but to be perfectly honest, that's a really low priority because very few people access it. But quite a few people do actually use the code review capability with Git within development services. So, so that's why it's still open. So it's, the majority of our users, we've addressed it already because that's through Redmine and VLCS. But I've kept that open because of Garrett.
Okay. And is it possible to show the roadmap page?
Yeah, we can show the roadmap.
Where is it? Oh, there.
There you go. So there are. So one of the things I've been trying to go through and update and shift things around because you can see some of this stuff has taken longer. And I'm trying to figure out how to handle it too, because oftentimes what we do is we roll out capabilities and 99% of it's there, but because I create a ticket or an issue and then it has lots of child issues to it, the parent issue that I've got, like in the case of the migrate SCP to Redmine, that's all been completed, but there was a bug. And so that one bug prevented the whole ticket from moving forward. Now I guess it's okay now, but so anyway, I'm trying to handle some of those things. So so some of the new stuff that we're going to be working on has to do with Garrett and the single sign-on there. And then also we've been dealing with two principal users at EMC dealing with the modeling code. And they're looking at moving to VLab and specifically moving from Subversion to Git. But one of the things that keeps coming up is they have very large files that they need to handle, and so we're looking at, the reason I raise this is Garrett supports something called Git large file storage. It's a plugin to Git, but I'm working with NSEP and NSEP Central Operations and trying to identify ways, because I want to meet people's needs, but I don't want it to impact all of VLab or all of the applications running with an IDP, to potentially have someone upload a huge file and then have it inundate the network. So that ties in with, so that ties in with the Garrett upgrade, and I think that's slated. I've already shifted that stuff out to the end of May for our delivery there. So all that, also look at all that SCP migration stuff that's been taken care of. So I need to do some cleanup on the tickets. So.
All right. Anything else for Ken? All right. Hearing crickets. Moving on.
Doug.
Yeah.
Actually, one more thing. While you're in the roadmap, can you go to the Gantt chart? We've talked about this before, I think. Is there a way to only show the versions on the Gantt chart, not all the individual tasks?
Sorry, I don't remember talking about that, but so you want just the summary of where things stand as opposed to the individual tasks that fall under, or are you?
Yeah, like if I have a whole listing of tasks and bugs, I don't that hides the versions. That is a better summary of it.
Yeah, we can look to see if there are any. I don't think we have a ticket on this. I'll look and see, but I can look to see if there are any plugins that do something like this. Or so, would you want to see the individual tickets only tied to the roadmap, or what would you? Because the default behavior, as you see here, it shows all issues. Within the project.
Specifically, was wondering if there's a way to see a graphical display of the different version timelines.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, we can look at that. We did pull down a different plugin and we tested it out in a different environment that was supposed to do some more of that, like graphics with the roadmap, but it wasn't very useful. I can pull up the ticket to get the details, but yeah, we can look to see if there's a way to get more information about the roadmap in a graphical notation.
Okay, I can create something as well, but once you pass along that ticket, I'll look for that.
Okay, I'll do that.
Okay, thanks.
Sure.
Okay. Anything else for Ken? All right. Next item, for the last meeting, we voted to have a VIT representative for headquarters. This is admittedly somewhat uncharted waters for our team here. So I don't see Steve Smith on the list. Is he on the call?
No, he's volunteered, or we have asked him to attend every other meeting. So he joins us for the last one of the month, the fourth Tuesday of the month.
So yeah, I mean, John, Chattel, Brian, and I have kind of been in conversation of how we're going to approach how this should be approached with the headquarters representative, and I think the way to proceed now, we're going to be chatting with Steve Smith and get his thoughts on the whole matter, and hopefully have some sort of resolution for, I'd say, for the next meeting. That sound good for everyone? Are there any questions with that? Also, still looking for some people to kind of join the ranks of this strategic planning team. It's still a relatively close-knit group of people, and would like to see a little bit more representation. If you have any ideas, please fire them away to either John, Brian, or I, and we'll try to get this moving forward as well. So, John, where do we stand with all the VIT tickets?
Alrighty, let me pull up our ranking spreadsheet. Probably the best way to take a look at that. So we had, there's sort of two different tranches, we'll call them, of issues here. And the first one is looking, whoops, sorry about that. The first one was this 30099. So that's been up there now for about a month or so. And we've got, well, I think we have enough input to justify a quorum on that, which is good. And the same now goes, apparently someone has recently ranked, so that's good. Same for the other ticket that we have, 32516. So you can see we've got 4 of the line offices having voted, including, of course, obviously the NWS, and then 5 of the regions, we'll call them, within the National Weather Service. So pretty good representation of input. Obviously, we still could get more from the National Weather Service, Alaska region, Central region, and then NMFS, we could get them as well. I think NMFS has only provided us input on one set of issues, so I'm not sure how long we would have to wait for them to provide us their input. So the decision needs to be made if we want to leave it open, seeking additional input, or whether we're ready to close these 2 issues and take the impact score and add it to the ticket and provide that information to the VLST.
And it looks like we have enough. Go ahead.
I nominate that we close them.
Okay.
Do I hear a second?
Yeah, this is Todd. Second that.
All right, thanks.
Thank you, Todd. All right, all in favor, say aye.
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 Okay.
All right. Any nays?
I'll take care of updating those 2 tickets, and we'll move forward.
All right, thank you.
While we're on that subject, I will mention that I don't believe we have any additional issues in the pipeline. So if there are topics folks want to bring forward in terms of new issues, this would be a good time to get them into the pipeline.
Well, John, there's actually the one item that we were talking about today, so I'll try to clarify that a little bit more with the roadmap. But the second is the email you sent about there's a new issue in there that we placed back in new. I don't know if you were able to, bring it up.
I think it's actually not this one, it's the other one, but, oh yeah, there we go. Right, so that one is a
yeah, so John, you emailed it. Yeah. I think we put it back to new because Ken was saying that we wouldn't be able to access the content of the archive community. Is there any more info on this, or do we maybe need to create a separate ticket on the need for archiving?
The need for archiving?
Yeah.
Oh, I see. Because we can
The need to
archive
be able to.
now.
Sorry.
No, go ahead.
No, go ahead. What's the abilities there?
I think the issue that we had confronted was that although we can archive the communities, once they're archived, I don't think the information within the community is available anymore. Is that right, Ken?
Yeah, that's correct.
Yeah, so maybe I'll clarify this a little, John.
Mm-hmm.
Edit the description, but there is a need for archiving without losing ability to access that content.
So when you say archive in this sense, you're just talking about removing it from the portlet that displays the available communities?
Maybe it gets a separate portlet called old communities or archive communities. So you're not maybe necessarily archiving it in the sense that we think about, but you're archiving it in that it doesn't get in the list of current used communities.
Right.
Maybe that's the better way to do it.
Yep. That there's some ongoing work I know in terms of the available communities portlet and probably also the My Communities portlet, very much related kind of work. So it's possible that we could integrate this new requirement into that work, and it might kind of synergistically work out pretty well. Candy,
So
something we could?
yeah, so what we're doing right now is the first step was to add the ability to, if people tag or categorize their communities, today when you do a search within the My Communities or available communities, it doesn't look over those. So that change, I've been working actively with another developer on that, and that should be done. Hopefully it should be uploaded today, and then I can test it, and hopefully later this week, as it's a pretty straightforward change. That'll be there. So the other thing that we're doing is looking at better ways of being able to find the communities and categorize those, and so we're looking at using both an organizational structure as well as the topics and being able to find things that way. So I've asked one of the other developers from NSSL that seems to have a really good sense for look and feel to look at this and come up with some suggestions. And so I need to get back with her and see where that stands. So the question here is that, or I was doing a couple other things, but I want to make sure I understood. So what the objective is to be able to flag a community as basically not active, but so then would it show up in the list of available communities, or how would it, I think when we talked about this before, you wanted it just to be like a read-only type version where people could see the content, but you wouldn't be able to add new content or things like that. Is that correct?
Yeah, I think I would envision a couple things. One, yeah, it would be marked as not active, and maybe there would be a separate, whether it's a portlet or just like a separate tab for not active communities. I would see these going in that tab. So you would, when you go to your community list, you're not bogged down by non-active communities. So that's one thing. And then what you're saying too about read access only, that's maybe a nice to have if that's an ability.
Okay. So yeah, it's not. I'm not aware of anything like that existing today. So if something were flagged as not active, it could change. I mean, is that a designation that a community owner or someone like that's going to go in and say, yeah, this community isn't active anymore? We don't want to remove it, because there may be some content within it that would be helpful.
I would hope that either the community owner or, in the case of maybe this team, would go in and say, wait, doesn't look like this community has been active for a year.
Mm-hmm.
Let's talk with the community owner and suggest that we make it non-active. Something like that. So if there's obviously a community that's not active, not being used,
mm-hmm.
we either the community owner or we could make it a suggestion to the community owner to mark it as non-active, and then it would go into the non-active list.
Yeah, I'm almost thinking we're talking about solutions that I can very briefly. So it might make sense to actually do, because we've been discussing this internally within the VLST, because we try to categorize the number of communities and projects and things like that, and it's of interest to us to get totals, but also to get totals of those communities which are quote-unquote active, right? And so, you know, how do you designate that within a community? It may be, okay, well, have there been any documents uploaded, or has there been any new web content, or something like that? So it might be advantageous to programmatically determine that, and then, you know, have that show up in a separate list, and then, you know, because we're talking about changing the way in which the community's portlet behaves, and so, you know, and then if the community owners start doing things within the community, it could switch then to an active state just merely by the fact that they've started doing things. You know, the process by which, because the other, at least the way my mind works, is that, you know, the other situation that comes up is when someone first gets a community, you wouldn't want people to potentially join before it's ready, but that's supported already by making it private initially, and then once they've got it in a good state, they can then change that from private to public, or to restricted, depending on what they want to do. But so I see value in separating out things which, you know, aren't actively being used, and I think there's a need for us too to let people, those community owners, know. And I think like this is being done a little bit by Tom Filiaggi's been following up with some users saying, okay, do you really need this? Is it, you know, what's happened? Because I think in certain cases someone has a great idea, but then it just doesn't go anywhere.
Yeah, so I'll reword this and nominate it for next time.
Okay, sounds good.
And I think then, like you said, it can be folded into some other stuff.
Okay.
All right. I guess we're in the open forum section now. Anyone have any issues for the bit? I apologize. I'm somewhat multitasking here. We've got that national tropical training in testing thing going on here. So. All right. Hearing no other issues for the open forum. All right, John, take it away with any new action items.
Okay. So we have to, let's see, update issues. Let me see if I can get the numbers here, although not critical. Let's see it back here. Let's go. Ah, no, don't do that. Too late. Ah. There we go, ranking spreadsheet. So we need to update issues 32516 and 30099, indicating that those have been assigned a impact score, and I'll then make sure that that gets communicated over to the VLST through the companion issues that we maintain on that side of the house. And then Brian is going to update issue 26824 to basically capture the comments that we have discussed during the meeting today. And that will then become an issue we'll consider at our next meeting. And let's see, Ken, I believe, had indicated he was going to generate a ticket, let's see, to investigate the roadmap view that sort of captures this Gantt concept where you can see the various versions and how they get laid out over time.
Yeah, so I sent Brian a link to the ticket that we already have.
Okay.
He can let me know if there's, I did that through Hangouts, Brian, so I don't know if you got that.
Yep.
Yeah, you did. You got it. Okay. So.
And were there any other actions that I overlooked?
The only thing that I can think of would be like if we wanted to contact Steve Smith, but that's but that can be done offline, I guess.
Okay. I can certainly put something in the minutes that requires us to do that, so I'll be happy to add that as an action.
Accountability for the headquarters.
Right.
Representative.
Representative. Mm-hmm. Okay. Duly noted.
Thank you.
Quick question, John. So looking at possibly editing the ticket, there's no real way to edit the original description. Is that correct?
Yes, you can do that. There should be like a little pencil next to it when you're in the edit mode.
Oh, I see that. Okay.
You see that? Okay.
I got it.
Mm-hmm.
Missed it.
Let's see. Edit. Did I click it? There we go. So then it's.
Yeah, I see it now. Yeah, I missed it at first.
Mm-hmm.
And this brings up an interesting question, John. Maybe Ken knows this. I actually have it opened for editing right now, and it looks like you have it opened for editing right now.
Mm-hmm.
Is there any lock capabilities, or will there be a problem if you edit and I edit?
It's not going to, it doesn't lock it. What ends up happening is whoever saves first wins, and then the next person that tries to save is going to be notified. And so it'll give you multiple options at that point. So if you've made changes, for example, just to the comments type area, it's going to give you options. So if you want to, I can run through a scenario and we can.
Okay. No.
It's pretty intuitive actually. So.
Okay. All right.
This happens to me a fair amount. So.
Okay, I got it. Perfect. I was just wondering. I'd never seen that before. So, thank you.
All right. Anything else? All right, then, gang. I guess we'll let you reclaim and repurpose your time for the rest of the hour, and meet again at 1 p.m. Eastern in 2 weeks.
Sounds good.
With that, let's adjourn the meeting.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you.